All right. So went to Ontario House. Nice little event with Beyond Ghost. Um, John kind of talked to me and said that he wanted me to work a little bit closer with Beyond Ghost. I think I'm on my way to becoming an actual member of Beyond Ghost. Uh, Now, Marty and Ryan had done a radio show before, and now John said that Ryan didn't want to do the radio show anymore. I don't know if he was just picking on him and just messing with him or not, but that's what he told me. But I talked to Marty because, if I'm going to do this radio show, I'm not going to be able to just do it by myself. I'm going to need co-hosts. I'm going to need people to help me out, plain and simple. So I talked to Marty, and turns out they have actually been thinking about starting it back up again. So I said, well, why don't we do it together? Because, I'm going to need the help anyway. And so he was all for that. So the radio show is going to be all things paranormal and beyond ghosts, basically. Um, Going places. Things are looking up. Definitely looking up. Um, Correction on what I said about John's story. First of all, it was all done in the dark, so they didn't even know what had broken behind him because when it happened, John got up and he was out the door and he was gone. So they weren't even sure what really happened. Turns out he was sitting in front of just like, a glass pane window that, would slide into a window. And the EVP sounds like you took a sledgehammer to a full thing, a full window, and it shattered into a million pieces. I mean, they heard it 2 floors down, but when you actually look at the thing that cracked, it's got this little hole, like about this big, and then it's got goes out a little bit, the cracks, but it doesn't look the way it sounded at all. So I mean, there was a good 35, 40 people there, and 4 floors to the Ontario House. It's been around since 1842. So I mean, the place is old. It's the oldest. I think it's the last stone building left in Youngstown. Um, I've been through the Civil War and all that stuff. Uh, we had a little bit of activity in the house that's kind of separate from it, with the flashlight and communication with the flashlight. However much credibility you put to that, I'm still on the fence about it. Some of it's accurate, some of it is just all over the place. But the real action ended up happening up in the attic, which that was amazing. Brandon from Beyond Ghost has this amazing thing. It's called the Ghost Touch 2, and it's kind of similar to something Ghost Adventures uses. It's this little box, and it's got a wire that comes out from it, and what it measures is fluctuations in energy. So it's not specifically electromagnetic, it's not specifically ionization or anything like that. It records, not records, but it detects severe fluctuations in energy fields, all energy fields. Um, if you go and you put your hand close enough to it, it'll go off. And Brandon had this thing, and when we first got up to that house, it was sitting on the banister, and I had my camcorder, my night vision camcorder running. Nobody's by it, nobody's even near it, and all of a sudden it starts going off. So Brandon's like, "What? That's not supposed to be going off." He goes, "Stop it." We turn it off. All of a sudden it turned off. At the same time that it turned off, I had full battery in that camcorder. Same time that it turned off, complete dead battery. I mean, it shut off, it went to red and it shut off. I couldn't use it anymore. Those were complete brand new batteries. So that happened. Then we went up into the attic, and he set the ghost touch down, and just moving it around and stuff. I mean, it was completely quiet on the table. And then he went, when you pick it up, it starts to go off. And so he picked it up, and he brought it over, and he put it down, set it on a chair. Well, when he took his hand away, it kept going off. He's like, "Why is that going off?" So he picked it back up, and he put it back over on the table. He took his hand away from it on the table, it went off. So we picked it back up, put it back on the chair, kept going off again. Okay, whatever. So we put it back on the table. We had the flashlight set up, and yeah, the flashlight's going, whatever. We had the K2 meter up going too. And at one point, Matt, me, Matt, and another guy, Ken, we were facing Brandon. We were standing across from him. Matt and Brandon both heard this voice of a little girl, probably like 10 to 13 years old or something. Heard her say something. It sounded like it sounded like it was coming from behind Brandon. Now I heard this voice, but when I heard it, I immediately thought it was coming from outside because there were so many people in that bar. So I didn't pay any attention to it when it happened, but I heard it. But they swear that it was like a 10 to 13-year-old girl that they heard, like actual words. We're gonna see if the audio picked that up. And then Brandon started asking, you know, if you're here, why don't you sit down in one of these chairs? There was a rocking chair, there was one chair with some springs on it, and then there was a wooden chair all lined up, all behind him. So me, Matt, and Ken, we all start hearing this creaking. And we're going, shh. Dude, it's coming from right behind you, Brandon. Brandon's going, yeah, I hear it. He goes, but it's behind you guys. I'm like, no, dude, I swear to God, it's right behind you. For some reason, he heard it behind us. We heard it directly behind him. There was no question about it. It was coming from behind him. But he heard it the other way. I don't understand that one. But the creaking, it kept happening. I mean, it was going on for a good few minutes. God, there was something else that happened with that ghost touch, too. Oh, right. So it was sitting on the table. Nobody was standing near it. Nobody stood near it at all. And the thing just started going off. And it went off for a good couple minutes until we asked it to shut it off. And then it shut it off. I mean, this thing does, it's not, you know, it's not like it's touchy or anything. It's not sensitive. It doesn't go off easily, you know, and the thing was going off. Now, you know, we go in rotations, we go in shifts to different floors, different groups go to different floors, you know. And so we were down in the main room, and we had all kinds of flashlights set up all over the place with recorders and blah, blah, blah. So I had my flashlight standing straight up on the table next to me. And I went and I picked up my camera, and the whole time, you know, we're talking to this thing, and we had asked it, you know, Brandon asked, he goes, do you want me to stay? If you do, light up the flashlight. Flashlight lit up. Well, he didn't listen. He walked out of the room. The flashlight had gone back off by this point. He went out of the room. As soon as he left the room, the flashlight came on, and then it slammed down on the table, and then it went back off again. And then I asked it, I said, did you knock the flashlight over because Brandon left? And I went to go walk out the room, and then it turned back on again. What the hell? So a little bit later, we ended up going back up in the attic again to test out this ghost touch thing. We started hearing the creaking again, same exact thing, because we stood in the same place. And it sounded like it was coming right from behind Brandon, no question about it, but he heard it behind us again. Then we put the ghost touch down in the chair again. Took his hand away, and it wasn't going off. But it was earlier. Doesn't make any sense. So we put it back out down on the table. We stood there for a good 10, 15 minutes, maybe 20, and it wasn't going off. Didn't make a sound. And we were messing around with the laser grids, and we were seeing, you know, what the nanometers on it was, you know, how strong it was. I looked at mine, I looked at the guy that was next to me, and then I went to go walk over to Brandon to see what his was, and it was right in front of the table where the stuff was set up. Well, as soon as I walked in front of it, the thing started going off like crazy. And we thought that maybe I touched it, but I didn't touch it. We were even testing. I mean, you got to get like right up on it. I mean, like almost touching it to make the thing go off, and I wasn't nowhere near that close to it. And so, you know, I stood back and I'm like, did I knock you into that thing? Did I knock you into it? Is that why that went off? We're going to light the flashlight up if it did. And boom, came right back on. It was so cool. Um, Again, it's still another place that want to go back, but got to do a private thing. You know, these investigations, if you want to call them that, with so many people, yeah, it's fun. It's fun to do an event like that. You know, it's nice to show people what ghost hunting is like, but they're still not seeing what it's really like because we can't do a real professional investigation with that many people. You just can't do it. So hopefully we'll be able to get back there with just a private small group, even if it's just Beyond Ghosts and us. You know, that's fine. That's plenty people. You know, don't need any more than that. So that's it in a nutshell what happened there. Uh, like I said, lots more things to come. I'll be posting videos and some audio. All the pictures are up now on our website. All Things Paranormal, Western New York at .ning, Ning.com. And there should be a link up on the YouTube, I think. So that's it for now.
Peace.